Hello everybody, my name's John and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about LiPo batteries and the do's and the don'ts. The reason that I wanted to do this video now is because obviously a lot of people have gotten RC cars, drones, boats for Christmas, and they may have a few questions about batteries, how to maintain them, how to keep them safe, and how not to burn the house down. So I'm going to be going through the do's and don'ts, and it'll be a bit bitty back and forth, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, now battery basics. These are several LiPo batteries in different forms. You've got, I think, yeah, this is 2S, 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 3S, 3S. Now, some of you out there are going to be a bit confused on what this 1S, 6S malarkey is versus the voltage. So I thought I would quickly draw this out for you and make it nice and simple. So the S stands for cells. So 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S, 6S. 6 cells, 5 cells. Okay, now each cell is 3.7 volts. So you go 7.4, 11.1, 14.8, 18.5, 22.2. So that is LiPo batteries in a nutshell, in its very basic form. But you also have something called the C rating on them, and that confuses the hell out of me. So what I had to do was go online and try and learn myself. And I've gone back to its very basic form. Please understand, everybody, I'm not an expert on this. This is just what I've figured out in the 9 months that I've been in the hobby. So C rating depends on the capacity of the battery. 4,000 milliamp, 3,000, 2004, or 2002, 1005, and 1000. So if your battery is, say, of 5,100 milliamp hours and a 10C rate or 10C rating on it, that will equal 5.1 amp hours. 5.1 amp hours times the C, so if that was 20, you times it by 20, 30, etc. So you times that one by 10, gives you 51 amps. So the higher the C rating equals more energy. So 51 amps, 10C, it's all right. What are the C ratings on these? 30C. So that's a good old battery. 50C, very good battery, going by what these figures say. Now, I know for sure that I'm not explaining this 100%, but I tried to put it into its most basic form because I'm not a scientist and I don't know that much about it. But this is what I have, so I thought I would share it with you. Right, now into the do's and don'ts. Okay, number one is avoid buying second-hand batteries. There's a very good reason for this, is because you don't know who you're buying from and what they have done to the batteries. Yes, there are some honest people out there, but more likely is that they're not being very honest. And you can hide a lot of sins with a LiPo battery. Like, for example, all you need to do is get some tape, wrap this up again, and you've hidden all of the sins of the batteries. If you're buying from somebody like a friend who says that it's in great condition, only used once, blah, 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 and you do trust them, then there's a few things to avoid. Okay? Avoid puffy batteries in any way. You can see that this battery is perfectly flat. This would be a good battery. The hard-cased ones, if it's got, look along the slit, if there's anything there that looks like it's coming apart, avoid the battery like the plague. Another way that you can tell if there's something wrong with the battery is actually by smelling it. If it smells like almonds, then it's been punctured in some way, had some sort of damage to it. So again, avoid it like the plague. Now, in these batteries, you'll see all of them have got something similar. This is obviously the connector connecting to your speed controller, ESC, but they have this here, which is the balance port. They all have it. This one's got a fancy one, but that's to ensure that when you're charging, for example, the 2 cell, that they're charging at the same rate. The 3 cells, all 3 of the cells are charging at the same rate to avoid damage. So that's number one. Okay, number 2 is chargers, and these are the things that come with your RC cars, boats, planes, drones, and these are the things that are not very smart at all. They do a great job of doing the one job that they're supposed to do, of course, which is charge the batteries up, but they are not very good for the maintenance of your chargers, i.e. you cannot discharge them safely and you cannot store them safely. So my top tip to you guys is, if you're going to get into the hobby, don't bother if you've just got the one car and that's all you're going to do. But if you're going to get a second car, get yourself a decent charger. It does not have to be this one. There are many that you can choose from. But the reason that I suggest that you get a decent charger is this also discharges, and this also allows you to set it to storage. And that means taking the battery down to a safe 30%, where the health of it is optimal. It's very important not to leave your batteries charged up over 30% for more than 2 days. It can cause damage, and that's something that you don't want, because you're just going to have to replace them a lot sooner than what you need to. So if you, by the 3rd day, you know that you're not going to use your battery, make sure that you discharge it. This one was around 30, you can get them for around 20. I will have a link in the description below if you wanted to pick this up. The thing that I love about this is that when you're charging, you've got the amps on one side, so you hit that, you move the amps up or down, then you go to the voltage or the cells that it will actually have, and you've got 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell, 5 cell and 6 cell. And then talking about that, you've got the balanced charging ports at the side, or balanced ports at the side. So the battery would, let me show you, go into 2 cell, and then you would plug that into here. So pick yourselves up a decent charger. That's number 2. Number 3, never ever leave your battery in your box or your travel case or anything like that where you can't see it. Reason being, if something happens to it, if it starts to catch fire, smoke, it's going to ruin everything. You're going to burn everything in here and ruin everything. So it is much better that you buy one of these. You saw them since the start of this video. I have 4 of them myself. I will be picking up some more as well. These are little Lipo guard, well, I mean, you can see pouches, supposedly fire resistant, but I'm not going to catch fire and show you guys how long it will last for. I'm not going to do that in this video anyway. Take it out of the box or the travel case or wherever you have it, or certainly don't leave it in your actual RC car and whatnot. Seal it up and put it somewhere safe. I will go on to safety of how do you store these things a little bit later, but these things cost between 4 and 30 euros. If you can afford to buy a drone, you can afford to buy one of these, or drone, car, whatever. They are not very expensive, but they are very, very important. So please do not leave them in here. That's number 3. Okay, number 4 is never discharge a cell lower than 3 volts. It can cause serious damage. Okay, so for your 1S, do not discharge lower than the 3 volts. 2S 6 volt, 3S 9 volt, 4S 12 volt, 5S 15 volts, 6S 18 volts. A lot of the RC cars, drones, etc. should have a Lipo low voltage shut off anyway. And you may have seen that where your RC car suddenly stops going forward or back, but the steering still works. That means that it's shut off because of low voltage. But do not, for example, connect it to a charger that is not a smart charger and try and, discharge it lower than the 3 volts per cell, because you will damage it, and it's not very good. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5 is about temperature of your batteries. This is actually a very important thing. Again, I mean, they're all important obviously, because I've said that every time, but this one is very important. It is to ensure that your batteries are kept in the best possible shape. Do not overheat them. Do not overcharge them. If you've run it down, because you've been in your RC car, you've run it down, do not charge it straight away while the battery is still hot. All of these things are not good for your battery. Make sure it's at room temperature, then you can start to charge it again. Temperature in general, not too hot, and certainly not too cold. Never, ever use your RC car, plane, blah, 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 in lower than -10°C. That's 14 Fahrenheit. Remember that there are chemicals in here and they just not like it cold. So don't do that. And I did know a guy once that put his batteries in a fridge while charging, thinking that it was better for them because it kept them cooler while charging. Please do not do that. That is a big no-no, because obviously you take it out of the fridge and all of that condensation is now all the way in your battery. It go bang bang. No do, okay? That was number 5. Number 6. Number 6 is about milliamp hours, and what does it mean? You've obviously got the voltage, I've explained that before, but milliamp hours is basically the capacity of your battery, which then equals length of driving. For example, a 1000 milliamp hour battery will not last as long as, make sure it's 7.4, will not last as long as a 2400, but obviously then it's a size issue. This is this. Can this fit into your car? So don't go and order like a 4 or 5000, 2S if it's not going to fit in your WL Toys 144001. Size is an issue, so make sure that you measure the battery before you order it. Now, 1000, 1005, 2002, 2004, 3000 and 4000. It is just how much milliamp hours you can fit into your RC device with the space that you have. So keep that in mind. It's also something that you obviously need to consider when you're charging on your charger, because like this one at 2400 milliamp hours, I would set to 2.4 amps while charging. So there you go. That was number 6. Number 7 is do not charge like this. This is obviously a dramatization. Do not charge it where there's lots of flammable items. Do not charge it on top of your box. Things like this is going to make your house go bang bang bye bye. Don't do it. It really is not worth it. Do make sure that you charge on a surface that cannot catch fire. No wooden floors, for example. And as I've explained before, do charge and have your battery in here. It's not very good that the actual balance charging port is not very long. So, I mean, it's not the best. Your charger's right by the side of it, but it's the best that we have to work with, unfortunately. So, at the very minimum, charge like this. Nothing flammable around. I've got a concrete wall there. Nothing around here. Okay, make sure that everything is as far as possible. Even this, make sure it's as far as possible away while charging. Now, for best case scenario, you would use something like, and everybody should have one of these laying around. This is off a computer, a metal side panel. Don't use the ones that are plastic for obvious reasons, and don't use the ones with the holes because that makes no sense. If you have, I'll get rid of that. If you have one of these like I do, this is a soldering mat, and this one can take temperatures up to, I believe, several hundred degrees C. Now, this is just to try and avoid damage to your floor. So anything that you can do to avoid that damage is always good. Now, if you do not have a charging bag, a Lipo bag, you can just do something like that until you get one. anything basically to keep your battery away from anything else while charging. Really, really important. I'm not just over dramatizing this video just for the sake of it. It is very important that you take these battery charging seriously. It's not like an AA battery. It can't take a lot of abuse. It can catch your house on fire, and that is obviously very serious. So do everything that you can to look after your Lipo batteries. I hope this video was useful to you all. If there is anything that I've forgotten, then please put it in the comments below so that other people can read it as well. If it's anything significant, my apologies. I thought I've covered everything that I needed to do. And then if there is something major, then obviously I will do another video in the future. Before I go, I will quickly plug in my charger here, because I know that some people are going to ask about this charger. Anything that I have on the channel, invariably somebody does ask about it. So I will quickly plug it in. Whoops. The light went out. I will turn this around and show you guys. What have we got here? Well, we have 11.1 volts. So that means that it is a 3S battery. So it's a 4000 milliamp. So if I just do balance charging, but I can go charge, fast charge, and storage. So if I go to start, now the amperage will start flashing, and as it's 4000 milliamp hours, I need to go down to 4000. It's a 3S, so I go donk, I hold it down, and then it actually checks to make sure that everything that I put in is correct. If I cancel out, and if I do 4S, for example, cell number incorrect, so it's telling me everything that is incorrect, which is absolutely brilliant. But the one thing that I probably haven't stressed enough that I really should stress, I did explain about storage, but for me it is vital that you all understand the seriousness of storing your batteries. I learned this when I had drones. Drone batteries are a lot more expensive. They're supposed to be a lot smarter, but certain brand was not smarter, and I ended up ruining my batteries because it started to puff up very quickly. I think it was it's a long time ago now, so I'm not going to say how long it took to do, but it was basically a battery that I'd forgotten about. I'd forgotten to put it into storage mode, and it was ruined. €100 gone. So again, with the storage, you do the same sort of figures. It will check the battery, make sure everything's okay. There you go. That's because I've already put this into storage mode, and it's down at 30% already. So that's how smart this one is. Well worth the money. I cannot stress it enough, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you liked this video, please hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel as well. And then hit that little notification bell so that you're alerted of future videos. If I do not see you before, what have we got? I may not have a video out tomorrow, so I wish you all a fantastic new year. Have fun, don't drink too much, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.